You sit at your computer at 2 in the morning and your fingers hover over the keyboard. The room is dark, except for the glow of the monitor. You're not doing anything illegal yet. You're just curious. You've always been curious about how things work, systems, networks, the invisible infrastructure that holds everything together. Most people don't think about it. They just use their email, their banking app, their social media. They don't wonder what's underneath. You start small. You watch tutorials on YouTube, free ones, public ones. They teach you about Linux command lines, about how to set up a virtual machine, about the basics of networking. It's like learning a language that nobody teaches you in school, but everyone around you is speaking it without knowing. If this resonates with you, stick around, because this is a journey that starts with curiosity and ends somewhere you probably won't expect. You're smart, and you know it. You got good grades in computer science, but the classes felt slow. They were teaching you to build things for companies that would own your work. Out here, on the internet, in forums, and Discord servers and subreddits, people are learning the real stuff. They're learning what your teachers were too afraid to teach you, or maybe they were just told not to. You figure it out fast, faster than your classmates, faster than people twice your age who've been doing this for years. The first time you find a vulnerability, it's almost by accident. You're testing something on your own server, experimenting, and you notice something, a hole, a way in that wasn't supposed to be there. Your heart rate spikes. You're not supposed to feel excited about this, but you do. The rational part of your brain says to report it to the company. The other part, the bigger part, wants to see how deep it goes. You explore. You don't take anything. You don't change anything. You just look around, like you're walking through a house with open windows and an open door. You find their databases. You see the structure of their systems. You understand, in that moment, how fragile everything is. How much of the world runs on code that was written quickly, patched badly, maintained by people who are burned out and underpaid. You could do this better. You know you could. When you finally step back and disconnect, you feel something like shame, but not quite. It's more like vertigo. You've seen behind the curtain, and the curtain isn't made of anything. It's just air. You don't report the vulnerability. You tell yourself you will, tomorrow, next week. But the thing is, you're not even sure how you do that. Who do you contact? And what if they don't care? What if they already know, and they're just hoping nobody notices? That's usually the case. You've read the forums. You know how this works. Companies ignore vulnerabilities until they're exploited. That's the system. So you keep going. You find more holes in different companies, different systems. You document them. You keep detailed notes. This is research. You tell yourself, this is knowledge. You're not doing anything with it. You're not breaking anything. You're just understanding. But you also start to earn money. A company pays you to find vulnerabilities. It's legitimate. It's a bug bounty program. They want hackers like you to find the problems before the bad guys do. You make $500, then $2,000, then $5,000 for a critical exploit in their authentication system. Suddenly, you're not just a curious kid with a computer. You're a professional security researcher. You have skills that people will pay for. The line gets thinner after that. You're offered more lucrative work, not from companies, from other people, people you know only through usernames and encrypted channels. They want you to find vulnerabilities in specific targets. They're not paying for the knowledge this time. They're paying for access, for you to keep a backdoor open in a system so they can get in whenever they want. They don't tell you what they're going to do with it, and you don't ask. You rationalize it. You need the money. You're trying to build something. Besides, it's not your responsibility what someone else does with information. You're just providing a service. You're good enough at this that you could work for any government, any corporation, any three-letter agency. But they want you to follow rules and ethics guidelines and compliance frameworks. This is faster money. This is more interesting. And nobody's getting hurt, not directly. It's not like you're stealing from individuals. It's corporations. They can afford the loss. Your take is $10,000, then 20. Then, you stop converting to dollars because you're getting paid in cryptocurrency now, and the amounts are too abstract to think about in terms of real money anyway. You cross into darker territory without any specific moment where you decided to. There's no point where you signed something or took an oath. You're just in a chat room with 10 other people you've never met, discussing targets, a hospital system, an election database, a military contractor. You wonder briefly about the people who will be affected. You don't wonder very hard. You find the vulnerability in the hospital system in 72 hours. It's elegant. You're proud of it. The code is clean. The exploit works flawlessly. You send it to the contact, collect your payment, and don't think about the hospital until 6 months later when you see a news story about delayed surgeries, about patient data being held for ransom, about the hospital paying $2 million to get their systems back. That's the moment. That's when you should have the reckoning. That's when you should realize what you've become. But you don't. You tell yourself it wasn't your responsibility. You provided a tool. Other people chose to use it to hurt people. That's on them. And besides, the hospital should have been more careful. It's not like the vulnerability was subtle. Any competent security team would have found it. They had the resources. They just didn't prioritize it. That's a choice. That's on them. You're making $200,000 a year now. You're in your mid-20s. You've never had a real job. You've never had a boss or an office or a performance review. You work when you want, from wherever you want. You're smarter than everyone around you, and the money proves it. The money always proves it. The deepest level is different. It's not about finding vulnerabilities anymore. It's about being part of something bigger. The government contacts you, not your government necessarily. Maybe a government, maybe not. The details are always vague. They want to know if you'll work directly with them, full-time, off the books. They want you to develop exploits that can be used against specific targets, specific countries, specific systems that control critical infrastructure. They say the word patriotism. They say, you'd be protecting your country, or they don't say that. Maybe they just say the money is good, and it is. Maybe they just say that if you don't do it, someone worse will. Someone without your ethics. Someone who will write sloppy code that gets traced back. Someone who will get caught and start talking. You say yes or you don't. But if you've made it this far, you probably say yes. The thing about being a hacker at this level is that you've moved so far from the kid who was curious at 2 in the morning that you don't recognize yourself anymore. You're not a person anymore. You're a tool. You're a very valuable, very intelligent tool, but you're owned by people whose names you don't know, pursuing goals you don't fully understand. And somewhere right now, another 17-year-old is sitting at their computer at 2 in the morning, watching tutorials, feeling curious, and nobody's going to stop them. Nobody's going to explain the slope. They're going to learn the same way you did, one rationalization at a time, each one slightly thinner than the last, until they can't see the line between research and crime, between curiosity and destruction. That's how it works.